Fat Charlotte stood at the bottom of the gangplank with a baby on her hip and fire in her eyes, looking up to the captain who was looking down at her. Convicts! The space where your lot are taking up as we take you from Sydney town down to as the settlement at Hobart town, we could be filling that with barrels of rum. Waste of space. Convicts. And around here, the captain, up on the deck of the ship, the rest of his crew was swarming around, wanting to have a look at these convicts. But they weren't looking at Fat Charlotte. They weren't even looking at her baby or Lanky Lancashire, their friend behind her. Oh, no, indeed. They were back at looking at Pretty Kitty. Oh, yeah. Pretty Kitty with her golden curls and her blue eyes and the dimples around the smile that won her friends wherever she went, but most particularly on an all-male ship. First mate Ben Kelly stepped forward to supervise the convicts, and he led Fat Charlotte and her friends, Lanky and Pretty Kitty and the baby, led them down below decks, down to their own cabin. And Ben Kelly, here first mate, he showed Fat Charlotte where their cabin was, and Ben Kelly, he showed Fat Charlotte how the layout of the ship was, and Ben Kelly, he told Fat Charlotte about the captain's rules. And last of all, when the captain was snoring in his cabin, Ben Kelly went to Fat Charlotte's cabin and unlocked it and brought them all up on deck. Now, Fat Charlotte was a bold lass, oh yeah, and she went after the things that she wanted, always had. I mean, back in England when she'd been hungry, she'd reached out for food, became a convict. In the colony of New South Wales, she'd wanted freedom and ended up transported from there down to Van Diemen's Land. And now she wanted love. Not just the love from her dear little baby or from Lanky, good friend though he was, or even Pretty Kitty, the dearest, bestest friend in all the world. No, she wanted true love, the love of a good man. She wanted the love of Ben Kelly. Now, there were some problems, I'll admit. I mean, she was convict, he was free, he was American. Nobody's perfect. But all of those difficulties she could have overcome. But there was one thing she couldn't look past. The way Ben was looking at Kitty. Up until that moment, Charlotte might have said that she only had one problem in life. I mean, admittedly, it wasn't a small one, lifelong imprisonment, but she could have risen above it. But now there's something that she couldn't get past. Anyone looking at them would have said that Fat Charlotte and Ben Kelly, they were the natural leaders, the natural partners, that they belong together. Anyone looking at them would have said that they belong together. Anyone except Ben and Kitty. Lanky sat beside Charlotte up on the deck, and he slipped his arm around her ample waist. Oh, well, something to drink and a friend by your side. That's all that we can expect for the likes of us, am I right? Fat Charlotte, she looked at his thin, kind face, and she looked at Ben and Kitty together. And she put aside her broken heart and took up a bottle of rum instead. And she danced. She danced while the deck rolled beneath her. And she sang to rival the gulls. But then there was another sound. Up from the lower decks came Captain Chase. "You, Ben Kelly, you're supposed to be supervising these convicts, and I see you here carousing with these doxies." Right. And he went forward and he grabbed Kitty by the arm hard, and he pushed his foul-smelling face close to hers. "That please be a lesson to you. Oh, they should be punished." Well, Fat Charlotte, she wouldn't let him get with that. And before she had another word, she struck his arm away from Kitty's. Time stopped. The waves stilled. The baby was quiet. The captain looked down at her. "You dare? Kelly, take out your whip." And Kelly took out his whip, his cat, the cat with the one. Nine tails on the cat. "Kelly, drench it in salt water, and so that this cat will bite. See that this wench learns who is master and who is maid." Kelly, he took up the whip, and he took it up and he brought it down. Kelly laid down the whip. Silence above the sound and whisper of the waves, and the sound of Kitty weeping. The captain turned on her. "So you would dispute my justice too, would you? It's another one who needs a lesson. Kelly, bring out the whip once more and raise your hand against this one so she can learn her lesson too." So it all comes down to this. Ben Kelly has a choice: obeying the orders of a commanding officer and hurting her, or insubordination. But Charlotte cannot let him make that choice. And she leans forward and snatches the whip from his hands and turns on the captain. You are the wretch to be seized." And she turned to all of those gathered around her. "Will you see such a wretch as this work against us, defeat us, take our food, our liberty, and our life in this way? Or will you join with me and turn against him? This is our chance, my friends. This is our opportunity for a second chance in this land of second chances. Will you join with me and turn against this one and gain our chance for a new life and freedom?" It's Lanky Lancashire who's the first to move. And he grabs hold of Captain Chase by collar and by breeches and hurls him into the longboat and casts him adrift upon the speechless seas. God damn, Charlotte. If he makes it to shore, we'll all be in for it. They'll be charging us with mutiny, or else as pirates. Pirates, is it? Well then, pirates we shall be. Join with me, my friends, and we will set course for a new life of freedom. And so the sails were hoisted, and they made their way to New Zealand, to the Bay of Islands. And they're making their way in there. That ship full of all those people cheering and celebrating, for Charlotte has done this, for Fat Charlotte, who has brought them to freedom and safety, to a land of food and a new home. But waiting on the shores of that new home, a Maori, big, full-bodied Maori, and they are watching and waiting as the tall-sailed ship comes in. The ship lays down the gangplank, and they all go forward to their new life. First of all, Pretty Kitty and Ben Kelly, thanking Charlotte for giving them their life together. And then Lanky Lancashire, with a squeeze of his hand to Fat Charlotte. And then Charlotte herself, with a baby nestling into her neck. There's Pretty Kitty going ahead, slender and smiling. But the Maori are not looking at her. They're looking past her, past Lanky. All those big-bodied men are looking at Fat Charlotte. Here, she would be beautiful.